Oh, hey, sorry, I just finished getting the tech news from my tech news guy, and now I can give it to you.
Where's he getting it from? Where's he getting it from?
From his guy. Microsoft has pumped the brakes on development of its handheld Xbox console and is now dedicating more resources towards optimizing Windows 11 for third-party gaming handhelds, according to Windows Central's resident sneaky Xbox guy, Jez Corden. He must have a talent for hiding in vents above boardrooms. To be clear, we're not talking about Project Kennan, the Xbox edition of an Asus handheld first leaked by Jez himself after he squeezed his now sweaty body back out of the vents. We're talking about the first of its kind proper Xbox branded handheld console meant to natively run Xbox games, which was supposedly slated for a 2027 release. But it makes sense that Microsoft wants to get its Windows 11 house in order first, because SteamOS is having what you might call a verified gamer moment. The newest build, which officially supports installation on third-party hardware, is being installed on desktop PCs by multiple YouTubers, including Random Gaming in HD and ETA Prime, and it's outperforming Windows 11 in many cases. Valve has noticeably changed their language recently, adding SteamOS compatibility ratings for games to help cover any device running SteamOS that's not a Steam Deck. For everything else that's not rated as SteamOS compatible, there's the new official GeForce Now app for Steam Deck, which apparently runs the service better than previously available alternatives. People are getting all hot and steamy over SteamOS, so Microsoft has got to do something to draw gamers away. Oh hey, maybe releasing an early version of Copilot for Gaming in the Xbox app on iOS and Android will help. So while gaming, you can ask the AI on your phone for tips. I don't know, the damage might be done here. There must be some amount of people out there who already think Xbox is owned by Elon Musk. Google CEO Sundar Pichai said on the Verge's Decoder podcast that AI is going to be bigger than the internet, which I think is true, but with the opposite effect. See, the internet allowed and encouraged unprecedented human-to-human contact across the globe. AI will allow you to completely avoid speaking to another human again, ever. Something that used to be necessary if you wanted to create a photorealistic short film like this one, made by the Wall Street Journal, although it's still a pretty complicated process, which will leave you even less time to interact with other humans. Okay, that's not entirely true. Live translation in smart glasses is real close to letting people have a near real-time conversation in two separate languages, and Gemini can analyze videos in Google Drive now, and that's cool. What's not cool is the other Gemini stuff, like Gmail AI summaries now automatically popping up and taking up half your phone screen unless you turn it off, and AI overviews in search still making basic errors like confidently stating it is not the current year that it is. I'm not sure if Gemini was involved in Google Maps suddenly marking all of the most used German Autobahn routes as closed for a few hours because Google didn't say what happened, but what, you think Claude 4 from Anthropic crawled in and wreaked havoc in the Google Maps system for a while? That's outlandish. Great news, everyone. Meta has made amends with founder of Oculus and enjoyer of goatees grown in the scrotum style, Palmer Luckey. Luckey was fired in 2017, but has since regained prominence through his successful military tech company, Anduril, which will now be working with Meta on mixed reality tech for the military. Military reality, maybe, I don't know. And maybe that's because Meta CTO and head of Reality Labs, which is what Oculus became, apologized to Luckey for being rude on Twitter. And that's not really the whole story, but it's also not super important. Meta's involvement here comes after Anduril picked up where Microsoft left off after their HoloLens project for the Army fizzled out. And Bloomberg notes that this all shows how much has changed in Silicon Valley. Everybody's doing military deals now, but pre-2020, the expectation was that big tech wouldn't get involved in military projects. But that being taboo led to the founding of a number of relatively new, less scrupulous tech companies who are happy to accept military and sensitive government contracts, and many of whose names, like Anduril and Palantir, are also references to the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, who would probably have some choice words for the people associating his name with the industrialization of war. Palmer Luckey's out here naming his company after the reforged sword of Aragorn and yapping about his dream being to turn warfighters into technomancers. And the geekiness is kind of charming. But it also makes me want to go Tom Bombadil on this guy. Please shave, and please check out our sponsor, SignalRGB, the easy way to control and sync all of your RGB devices with one free app. Look, PC gamers, we love the pretty RGB lights, all right? But they're messy. You've got different ecosystems and apps for Razer, Corsair, EVGA, SteelSeries, Logitech. Well, guess what? SignalRGB just fixes that. This is one app that works for all of those brands and way more, over 100 altogether, with controls for game integrations, macros, fan control, and audio visualizers all in one clean interface. It's crisp. So delete the RGB bloatware and download SignalRGB today and simplify your setup. It's time for Quick Bits, but first, fun fact, at some point the never-ending chain of tech news guys passing on the tech news turns into turtles, and honestly, I try not to think about that too much. The New York Times has made its first AI deal, licensing the use of its content to Amazon to train their in-house AI models and to allow Alexa to include excerpts from and links back to the NYT website. The New York Times, of course, sued OpenAI in 2023 for training its models on the Times content without a license. That's perhaps the most prominent AI copyright case and is still moving through the courts. And it all just goes to show, you either die before AI scrapes your content for free, or live long enough to make a deal for AI to scrape your content for money. You are going to die though. We already knew that AMD's RX 9060 XT was coming soon with both 8GB and 16GB versions, but the two variants may have differences in other specs as well, depending on the manufacturer. Marketing materials from GPU board partner Yeston lists their Gaia 16GB version with a 100 MHz higher base and boost clock. So make sure you read the fine print if you're in the GPU market, or you could wait until Chinese chipmaker Liswan brings its brand new 6nm GPU, which is apparently targeting RX 4060 level performance to external markets. The tariffs will have to be gone by then, I think. AI hosting platform Hugging Face has introduced a humanoid robot called Hope JR, Hope Jr.? I don't know. Which will cost around 3,000 USD and is completely open source. So anyone can rebuild or modify it however they like, add spider legs, just really this thing up if you want. The company also announced a small desktop open source robot called the Reachy Mini, which is a pretty rude thing to name a robot that can only move its head. But maybe it's also really good at arguing in bad faith. And researchers in Austin, Texas have developed specialized electronic tattoos, super thin sensors you stick around your head that monitor brain activity and eye movement to gauge the wearer's level of mental strain. The researchers figure that if workers wear these e-face tats, their superiors could adjust assignments and reallocate personnel if the system detects that someone's cognitive burden has reached critical levels. That sounds dystopian, but I have to admit I love the idea of making face tattoos functional. Now you can have a couple tear tattoos under your eye because they tell your boss's computer when you're sad. Maybe they light up. For the next trial, they should give these to real gang members, and if they just can't take the stress of living outside the law, the mob boss can let them leave with no issues. Hey, you're not cut out for this. You can go. But oh boy, will I have an issue with you if you don't come back here on Friday for more tech news. Don't think I won't do anything either. You know why I got this tattoo? Because it washed off already? You didn't want to know anyway. Ooh.